Hi, Fee Hills here and welcome. This is the first of 5 video presentations extracted from our London launch. The videos walk you through the why, what and how MindNudger AI can speed up, scale and sustain mindset and behaviour transformation in organisations and in communities. So let's get started with part 1.
Okay, so I'd like to sort of set the scene. You may have heard of the 30-step challenge. You take 30 steps, 30 linear steps like this. Where would you be? About there, yeah? So linear steps. So 30 linear steps, that's where we'd be. What's interesting is that we'd probably be about 30 meters away. And what's interesting here is what we're not trying to do and what we're going to share with you today through all the combination of the gamification, the AI and stuff like that is show you that we're not trying to solve a problem that is going to make this faster. So this can be made more efficient, and there's a lot of things going on right now in the world that is making this better. This is making this more efficient, if you like. But we're not trying to do that. What we're trying to do is allow you to thrive in something that's changing at 30 steps, but it's exponential steps. So when I take 30 steps and I get 60 meters away, if I take 30 exponential steps, where am I going to be? We're going to be almost to the moon. What we're trying to solve isn't trying to slow this down, because we can't, and that's the truth. That ship has sailed. If you think about it at the moment, what's happening when we're acting in a very linear way, no matter how much we throw technology at the problem, what we're actually getting is we're being drowned. We've been drowned with information. We've been drowned with transformation. We need to get on top of that wave. No, actually, let me put that right. We need to help our people get on top of that wave. Harvard Business Review, this was an article, certainly work of Emil, is it Schema, the pronunciation for that? And Ron Gutman, who wrote this article and obviously designed this model. What's interesting is that we think we're dealing with exponential change, and whilst we say that's bad enough because you've just seen, the difference, we're actually dealing with it's perpetual, so it's ongoing. There's no break. It is unfolding in multiple areas of our life. Now, I wrote that how they wrote that, but I actually think it's in every area of our life, not in just multiple areas. Every area of our lives, we've got this sort of pervasive change. So we could be sitting there being forgiven for having a difficult time and even taking other people through change in a consistent way, and also for ourselves feeling overwhelmed all the time, or a lot of the time. Too much information, blah, blah, blah. Sapient leadership, they call it, is a framework that enables accelerated adaptation in a wise and humane way. Wouldn't that be nice? And it's about continuous evolution, having a growth mindset and resilient that allows us to overcome the 3D change. Now, the only thing I'd add to that is it's much more than a growth mindset that we need. We need many, many, many forms of mindsets that we need to apply when we need them. And we need to adapt to different mindsets, like abundant mindset. Because exponential change brings with it this overwhelm, but it also brings with it phenomenal abundance that we're ignoring because we're so overwhelmed by all the, how do we get through change malarkey, that if we can just start to be appreciative of the abundance of what we can have potentially, and then we're not quite there yet, but you've got that chat GPT, I was going to mention it, and you think about that, and then all of a sudden we feel disrupted because then people go, what does this mean? But we've got like millions and more of them to come. We're just on the beginning of that. So we've got to get ready for that. And how we can take advantage and harness the power of something like that, as opposed to be overwhelmed by it or as opposed to being frightened by it. And also, we need the right mindset to be even in the right position to deal with this type of change that we're walking into. Our research says that we're not ready. And that is why technology is speeding ahead, and we feel like we're chasing it, as opposed to we're working with it. Like sometimes it can feel like we're running behind it, going like this. So we need the right mindsets and the right skills, and we talk about skills, to be able to embrace it in a really positive and constructive way. Even if it's not positive, in a constructive way. And humans need to do that, and they need to do that bit urgently. What if we could shape our human minds so that we can cultivate a great future for us, and more importantly, for our future generations? So we're sitting here cultivating what is the future that they've got to inherit. So what are we laying the path for for our future generations, our kids, our grandkids. And we need to be really mindful of that as leaders. So what mindset and what human-centric skills do we need in the 21st century? So analytical thinking, innovation, active learning, complex problem solving, critical thinking. They're the higher order thinking skills. Now, what you notice about this, in fact, I'm going to put it out there. What do you notice about this? Well, sorry, what do you notice about the skills? What they're about? Yeah, they're human skills, aren't they? Now, we're going into a technological age that couldn't be any more technical as in our lifetime or anybody's lifetime in history as we know it. And yet, not much talk in the World Economic Forum about technical skills, because they know that we're going to gather them. It's a foregone conclusion that we're going to embrace those as we go in through our evolution into this. But the revolution to us for humans is the human-centric skills. And that we're behind on. And that's the one that we need to play catch up. We do not want to be playing catch up with these skills. So every time there's a technological advancement, the equation is that our human skills need to go higher. That's the simple equation. So if they're not, we're going to lag behind. And that's as simple as that. And that's not to say that I don't even worry about whether AI one day can do the same as humans, because it's an academic conversation. Nobody really knows. But we can say that we need to work together with these technologies and automation, together with AI. And we need to start partnering it. And to do that, we need higher levels of skills. And we need the skills that are our strengths, as opposed to the technological strengths. So that is really what our objective, our mission is to help not do that, but give you the tools to do that. Quicker, faster, that's the same thing, isn't it? Quicker and faster. And more effectively. And we call this the 3 S's, because it's speed, scale, and sustain. Now, what we're talking about when we're talking about human-centric skills and mindset transformation is that we can't do this in an exponentially changing world unless we accelerate that learning, scale the transformation, and then be able to sustain it. And when I say sustain it, I'm really talking about continuous growth, really, more than anything. So, and here next to this, you'll see that in our research, because there's a heck of a lot of research gone into this, we haven't just sat down at a table and researched it. This is through, with Mike's work, which you're going to hear about, which is phenomenal, 35 years of work. So with speed, we need something called human-centric design or learner-centered design, whichever you prefer to call it, or if you're in education, they may call it student-centered design. They're actually the same thing. Which is, this doesn't mean, and I don't want you to think that this is a talk, so this is not learner-centered. This is me giving you some information. So this is very much trainer-centered. Does it mean that you don't have trainer-centered? Of course not. But at the moment, way, way, way too much stuff is trainer-centered. So we need to take a big percent when it comes to behavior, especially in mindset transformation and human-centric skills, and we need to develop a paradigm shift towards a more human-centric approach to the design of the content. Now, funny enough, someone told me the other day that TikTok are doing this now. They want their people to do more learner-centered, as they call it, rather than telling. So that actually way ahead of the game in terms of what they're thinking about in learning, even though you might think about it being a social platform. But their goal is, a lot to do with learning, oddly enough. Well, not oddly enough, it's sensible. So the other thing is, for scale, you do need the AI. So the scale of the AI navigation tool, we call it, but you're not doing this without AI. Now, why? Because it is about the paradigm shift. I'm not talking about technology. You can scale the message, but if all you're scaling is 38 linear steps, that's what technology can do. What AI can do, if it's designed right, it can help you scale the paradigm shift. And that's what we're trying to do. So you'll see, by the end of it, you will, because Mike's going to really share the whole concept pyramid thing, which is amazing. The human is not going to be left behind, but the human's role is going to change. So I want to talk about how it's going to change for the facilitator, because that's what we're in, right? The job isn't going to go in any way, shape or form. The value that a facilitator or learning teacher, what do you want to call them, has to add in the future is a lot more higher value. Because the other stuff that's not so high value, that can be dealt with through AI. So the AI has to work with the human-centric, so it's augmented, it's that sort of symbiotic relationship that we need to achieve between human, and in this case human facilitator, with the AI. So the question is how we get that symbiotic relationship going. We're really leveraging the power of AI and data-driven insights and the neuroscience at play to speed up, scale and sustain transformation and change in workplaces and communities. So anywhere where there's an organisation of people, it can serve.